Hello, and welcome back to Fun and Games with Miss Ray. I wonder, how did you get on with Stocking Ball last week? Did you have fun with all the rhymes and all the different actions that you could do? And how did you get on with the games on the floor? Did you manage to play them all, or did you run out of time? I was really pleased to hear that some people had made up their own rhymes for Stocking Ball, which was amazing. And I've also heard of some new actions. Some people were dropping to the floor, stocking ball over their heads, and then popping back up again, which I thought was brilliant. So well done, everybody. Great for your coordination. This week, we have a change. We have a change in the weather. We've had rain and thunder and lightning. Luckily, though, okay, it's colder, but it's not wet. So we can be out playing games and having fun outside. And even if it does get wet, we can just go and get inside and have fun and games inside. This week, I've got two sets of games for you. Inside, we're going to be doing STAIR ball. Fantastic game. Lots of variations there for you, and it keeps you sharp. And outside and inside, we've got just some net games that I'm going to introduce you to as well. Looking around at the weather, I think we need to get started. See you in a moment. I'm just going to get everything ready. Fantastic. We're ready to start, and we're starting on net games. Nets are used in a lot of games. I wonder, can you think of any games that use a net? Yeah, absolutely. Tennis uses a net across the court. Did I hear someone say football or basketball? They use nets, but in football, the net is part of the goal, and it's the same in basketball. The net goes round the hoop and is part of the goal. When we're talking about net games, we're talking about a net that is stretched across the court, like in tennis. So have a think, any other net games that you know of? Absolutely. Badminton also is a net game with the net across the court, and there's also volleyball as well. Okay, so those are the sorts of games we're thinking of playing. Well, we're thinking of playing versions of those games. And you might be thinking to yourself, well, don't know where I'm going to get a net from. Well, that's the good news. Most of us have a net, well, a sort of a net, already in our gardens or our backyards. Can you think what it is? I'll show you mine. Here we go. There it is. Yes, a washing line makes a really good net. Okay, it's a fantastic thing to use as a net because it's stretched out, and if you've got space on both sides, it's a bit like having a net across a court. Remember though, thinking caps on. We want to make sure that we are sensible and safe. So remember, see, check, okay, and clear. You need to check and clear your area. So I'm going to take these off because I don't want them to get broken. Put them down there. I'm going to clear the area and make sure there's nothing that I'm going to tread on or trip on. And I'm also going to check, not just clear, but check with my grown-ups that it's okay to use this. And then I'm going to appraise the area. Is this net the right height for what I want to play? Now, most of us, our washing lines are a certain height and there's not a lot we can do about it. So today, when you appraise and think about this space and this net, you need to actually be thinking the net doesn't change, so maybe my game will have to change so it suits the net. Okay, so once you've appraised and you know what game you're going to play, okay, then you need to prep your things and make sure everything is in place. But one big word of warning: if you're going to be using a washing line net, be really careful. Don't go running under, okay? I don't want anyone accidentally getting it stuck around their neck or running into it, because you get a nasty rope burn and it's not very nice, okay? So just be sensible, always ask the grown-up, make sure it's okay to use this washing line as a net. The next thing you need to do is think about what game you're going to play. So I'm going to give you some different ideas that you can use with a washing line net. Okay, I'm going to take my thinking cap off and I'll be back with my first idea. Game one. If you love football or you just want to get better with your skills, you can do what a lot of the Brazilian youth do. And this is something that some people have thought has made the Brazilian footballers particularly talented. And that is playing keepy-uppy. And they play keepy-uppy a lot, but they play keepy-uppy over the net. So it becomes a form of tennis. So the idea is that you keep the ball up as long as you can by kicking it, and then you pop it over the net, and the people on the other side of the net have to keepy-uppy, and then it comes back over. You can play it in different ways. The Brazilians, when they play this, if the ball hits the floor, it's out, 1 point to the other team. Okay, you can play your own rules. It might be that you just want to see how many times you can pass the ball with your feet over the net and keep score. So it's a joint score. It might be that you are playing against each other, and if that's the case, maybe you'll find that you'll want to let the ball land at least once, so you'll give everyone one bounce. Personally, I think the more skillful thing is to keep the ball going from one side to the other side of the net. If you want to make it harder, limit the number of touches. So instead of going, oh, yep, I've got the ball, I've got it, I've just about got it under control, pop, and it comes over, say you can only have 5 touches and then the ball must come over. Okay, so that sort of thing makes it a lot harder. So game one, keepy-uppy over the net. Game two coming up in a moment. Okay, here we go. Net game 2. All right. Nets are great for any sort of bat or ball game. Okay, all you need is a bat and some form of ball. You might be lucky and have something like a badminton or a tennis racket. I've got a badminton one, but not a tennis one. Okay. You might have something like your beach bat, your wooden beach bat. Okay. That would be great. But if you don't have anything, don't worry, because we all have a frying pan. And a frying pan makes a great bat because it's got a good flat side on the bottom that's good for striking a ball or an object. Just make sure it's washed. It hasn't got your breakfast in it still. Okay. So, and also obviously do ask, don't just take things. Ask your grown up if it's okay to use. They might have one they really are happy for you to use and one that they don't want you to use. Okay. Once you have your bat, you need to do a little bit of thinking. So I'm putting on my thinking cap. This isn't so much about being safe, it's just about choosing the right ball or object to bat around, okay? I've got lots of different sorts of balls to strike in here. So I've got a tennis ball, I've got an air ball, it's got my name on it. I've got a table tennis ball, or some people call it a ping pong ball because of the noise it makes, ping pong. And I've got a shuttle. Okay. Oh, that one is a foam ball, but it's not very bouncy. It's a bit of a sad ball, that one. It doesn't bounce. I was hoping it was going to be a bouncy foam ball, and when I bought it home, it wasn't. But those are my choices. If I was using my badminton racket, it's a very thin, light racket. And if I started hitting the tennis ball, it would just start to buckle and I wouldn't be able to use it any longer. So that wouldn't be the sensible choice. Okay, so I would choose for something like the badminton racket, either the badminton shuttlecock or the air ball or the table tennis ball or my foam ball. They would all work really well. And even though this doesn't have any bounce in it, because This racket has strings. The strings have their own bounce. Let me just show you. This ball, if I drop it, it will just bounce. That's because the strings are tight and they bounce the ball for you. Okay, so the strings have quite a lot of bounce. So you can use something like this that doesn't have any natural bounce of its own. Okay, if you weren't using this, if you were using maybe one of these two, they're quite strong and sturdy. Okay, so you could use all the other sorts of ball, but think a little harder. A tennis ball is great. Oh yes, but what's going to happen if it drops on the floor? Where is your washing line? If my washing line was still out there on my garden, on my grass, I can tell you this tennis ball, when it dropped on the grass, would, yes, it would hardly bounce at all, because my grass, it's ordinary home grass. It's not Wimbledon grass, okay, where they play the big championships, okay. If you've got a backyard with a solid concrete floor, this area I'm on is paved. When I drop the ball, oh yes, it bounces. So this ball would be great if my net was on a concrete yard, okay? So choose the right ball. If I was on grass, this is quite a hard ball to keep continuously moving over the net. We call it volleying. When the ball doesn't hit the floor, it's volleying. For us to volley this backwards and forwards between two people, even a lot of grown-ups would struggle with that. You'd be better off using a lighter ball that is easier to control when it hits. Something like a tennis ball's got quite a lot of weight and it makes your wrist quite tired. These sorts of balls, very light, very easy to control, and they won't make your wrist tired. So thinking cap on, choose the right ball. You don't want to damage your equipment, and you also want to make a good game, right? You also need to think a bit about your rules. Is the rule going to be that you have as many hits as possible before you return the ball so you can control it and then return it? Or is it that you're going to say only five touches or 2 touches before it comes back? Is it okay for the ball to bounce on the floor as much as you want, or are you only going to have 2 bounces or 1 bounce? You can make up your rules, but make sure you make the rules up at the start. Play those rules fairly. If you want to change the rules to make it harder, then do that. Maybe less bounces will make it more challenging. Maybe use, instead of a big ball, a smaller ball. Maybe use a ball that has less bounce in it. Those sorts of things you can do to challenge yourself if you think you want more challenge and the game to be harder. So, one more game to go using a net. Come back in a moment and I'll be ready. Fantastic. Last game using a net like this. It can be used with the net low, or if you can tighten it up like mine. Put another wrap around it. And it's become a higher net. This height of net, above head height, would be great for volleyball. Okay, remember volleyball? Everything comes from the legs. I'll put the camera down a bit so you can see. When we're doing volleyball, we bend our legs, okay? We keep the ball in the air. We spread our fingers and our hands are like that, making a diamond shape. Turn them over, elbows out. Now you can only do this if you have a very light ball. This ball is incredibly light. I could just about blow it, it's so light, okay? If you didn't have a light ball like this, you could use your balloon bag ball. Handy hint, if you're going to make a balloon bag ball and you're using it outside, make it outside because the air will be cooler outside. Okay, if you make it inside, it could be nice and tight inside where the air is warm, and then when you bring it outside, it'll go all floppy because the air is cool, and the air inside will contract. It will get smaller and it won't fill the bag so much, so you get a very floppy bag. So if you're going to use a balloon bag, a plastic balloon bag like I showed you how to make a couple of weeks ago, make it outside first. But remember, elbows out, turn your hands over. You can use your legs, okay, and bend your legs, push with the arms, and you can practice the ball going backwards and forwards over the net. Okay, it doesn't matter which one you use. And you can play volleyball. Again, it's up to you what the rules are, but I can assure you that with volleyball, you don't want the ball to go on the ground. You really need the ball to be going high as possible, well, not high as possible, you need to going high enough so the other person can get underneath. If you're having difficulty getting underneath, you need to bend your legs because that's where the action comes from, your legs. It's not about the arms, it's more about the legs. Okay, so you can have a lovely time playing volleyball. If you're inside, you could use a balloon bag and practice volleyball inside. It's slower, but it's the same, elbows out. Oh, and if it goes too far, I've got a bit of a wind, okay, bring it back. So it's the legs, bend, straighten, okay. And in volleyball, you're allowed to use your head or your elbows, okay, as well. So there you go. I've got several net games. I can hear some of you going, but Miss Ray, I don't have a washing line net. Don't worry. I'm going to show you a different sort of net that you can set up either in your garden or in your house. Okay, so I'll show you that, and I'm also going to show you, if you're on your own, a net game that you might be able to play as well. Come on back in a moment. Fantastic. For those people who don't have a washing line net, a very easy net to make is a chair net. You can either have the chairs just literally like that, and one of you plays from one side and the other from the other side. If you want to make it look better, you can put a towel over and then play from one side to the other side, and you can have as many chairs as you want. If you want it to look more like a net, then you can turn your chairs and have a gap. And if you had rope, something like a washing line, you could tie the rope between, or you could put your towel like that. You could even make it bigger. There we go. And you've got a net that you can play the game with. Okay? You don't have to have one certain thing. You can improvise. Improvise means using something for a different purpose that works. So here we're using chairs and a towel to make a net. We've improvised a net. It doesn't matter what sort of a net you have, as long as it works for you and you enjoy playing and have fun. This sort of a net would be great for bat and ball games, for football keepy uppy, that one as well. It would be brilliant. Okay, some of you are still most likely saying, but Miss Ray, what about me? I'm on my own. I haven't got grown-ups who can play with me at the moment, or my little brother or sister is too young to play with me. What am I going to do about net games? Hang on a moment, I'll be with you as soon as I can to show you what you can do. Okay, I'll be back in a mo. Come see. Right, if you're one of those people who's saying, but Miss Ray, I don't have a washing line net, or maybe I'm on my own at home, there's no one to play with me at the moment. I was a bit like that because I was the youngest of 5 children. And one day I realised all my brothers and sisters had gone to school and I was on my own. So I know what that feels like. And you need something to play as well, and you need to have fun. Okay, so if you've got something like a wall, okay, and you've got a bat and you've got a ball, again, choose the right ball. If you're working against a wall, it needs to be a bouncy ball or a little bit bouncy. Okay, and if you want a net, you can draw a net with a big piece of chalk. If you haven't got chalk, you might be able to use a wet sponge or something similar to make a nice wet line on the wall. Okay, just always ask if it's okay. If we're ever drawing on anything with chalk or even wet water, we always ask. But you can make yourself a net like this. There you go, that is my net. I'm going to put my chalk somewhere safe so that I don't crush it by standing on it by accident, okay? So I'll put it up there. And now I have a net, I have a bat, I have a ball, I can practice. Trying to keep the ball, whoops, above the net, moving my feet to get to the right place. Oh, out of bounds. Okay. Remember, out of bounds is really important. You don't want to crash into a wall or anything like that. I didn't put my thinking cap on, but I should have had my thinking cap on, because what can you see on the wall behind me? Yes, it's a light. Luckily, I'd chosen the right ball, a lightweight ball made of foam. And if it got hit with this, nothing would happen at all. But do remember your thinking caps, okay? If this is getting too easy for you, and you can easily do 50 or 60 to yourself, try using forehand and backhand, okay? Let me show you. Forehand is when we hit the ball this way. Backhand is when we turn around and we hit the ball the other way. Okay, we'll have to turn the bat round because I'm not sure that surface will do very well. Okay, so you might want to do backhand hitting. Oh, not as good, Miss Ray. There we go. All right, so you might want to then mix it up, forehand and backhand. Okay, forehand, run your feet round, backhand. It's a bit tight here, so I'm struggling to get round, but run your feet round to do forehands and backhands. And if that's still far too easy for you, then you need to draw another line. If that's your net, draw it about 50 centimetres above. And what you say to yourself is, every time I hit the ball, I want it to land in that space. I don't want it to be higher and I don't want it to be lower. If it was lower, it would be in the net, no good in a proper game. If it was higher than that, it would be very easy, if someone was playing against you, for them to come in and smash the ball and win a point. So for you to always hit the ball between those two lines is a really good skill to practice. Have fun with your net games. Remember, you can play them outdoors. If you're playing something with a very lightweight ball, like a foam ball, or with an air ball, a shuttle, or a ping pong ball, you could play net games inside with chair nets, okay? Just remember, always put on your thinking cap and make sure that you clear the space and make sure that it's safe. Okay, so clear it, make sure that it's safe, appraise it, make sure it's the right space for the right game and that you've got the right equipment, think about the balls, and also then make sure that you've prepped properly, that you've got your towels on the no-go areas and that you've moved things out of the way that might break. Okay? Have a great time with your net games. I'm going to show you some other games now called stair games, okay? Stair ball is what it's been called, and I'm going to show you stair ball so that in case it's really, really bad weather outside, you've got two things to keep you busy this week, okay? I'll see you inside. Fantastic. We've come inside out of the cold and the wind, and we are ready for stair ball. I think stair ball has been a game that has been played for as long as there have been stairs. But before we even start thinking about playing stair ball, I need us to put on our thinking caps. Stairs are meant for going up and down. They're for using to get to the upstairs of the house or to get to the ground floor, the downstairs of the house. Playing on the stairs is something that we just need to be a bit thoughtful about. With this game, we're going to be at the bottom of the stairs, throwing a ball up the stairs. Okay, so we're not actually playing on the stairs because that would be dangerous, because the stairs are at different levels, and if you get excited, it would be very easy to have a fall and a tumble. So remember, this game is with you standing on the flat surface at the bottom of the stairs. All right. The second thing to remember is that it might be that in your house you're in a place where you have other people who live underneath you. Maybe you're in a flat that has stairs, and it may be that this isn't a suitable game because it will make too much noise for the people downstairs. Okay, so you must ask your grown-ups, okay? Check with them before you even begin and say, is it okay to play Miss Ray's stair ball? Okay, they may want to come and have a look. So always ask first, okay? And remember, when you're saying to your parents about this, you're standing on the flat at the bottom for this game. It's not running up and down the stairs at all, okay? We're standing at the bottom to play this game. But do ask your parents and carers. And obviously, if you've got photographs or lights on the stair walls, then it may not be appropriate for you to play this game. So do ask your parents. Okay, we also need to think a little bit about the ball that we're going to use. Okay, are you going to use a really hard ball inside? Most likely not. Okay, we don't want to damage anything at all. Even paint work like this, if I was using something like a golf ball or a hard ball or a cricket ball, would chip, and that would not be a good thing. Okay, so we're going to use some sort of a soft bouncy ball, okay, for this game. Right, we've had our thinking caps on. We have cleared the area, so I've checked that there's nothing on the walls, there's nothing on the floor that I'm going to trip on or slip on. Appraise, we've appraised it. Well, I've appraised it. It's a suitable set of stairs. Personally, I would like it if they were longer. The longer your stairs are, the more fun this is because the ball bounces more, but they'll be fine as they are. So I've appraised it and I think it's a sensible game. And the prep, well, I've sort of done the prep, but you're going to help a little bit with the prep as we go along, okay? I'm going to go to the bottom of the stairs sensibly and carefully, take my thinking cap off, and then we'll be able to begin stair ball. Here we go. Okay, I'm at the bottom of the stairs where it's nice and flat. You can see the stairs coming down to me here, and I'm sure that everything is safe. Stair ball can be played with either a small ball or a big ball. It's quite fun to experiment with different balls. Okay, I've got some different balls here. Personally, I'm just going to use this one first of all because I just want to show you what the game is. This game can be played in quite a few different ways, so it can get more and more complicated. So with this part of the video, I would like you to watch a bit, pause, go away, have a play and a practice, enjoy the game, and then maybe come back tomorrow, watch the next section, pause, go away, Have a nice play and practice and enjoy. Maybe even fill in your games book so that you've got a record of the games that we've talked about outside with net games and the games that we're going to play on the stairs now. Once you've watched a bit, then pause, go away, practice, come back the next day. Because it'd be nice for you to have something different to do each day and a bit of a challenge each day. Okay, this is the game. A ball that's not going to do any damage. You stand away from the bottom of the stairs and you just toss the ball up the stairs, and the aim is to catch it. If you've got long stairs, whoop, it will bounce higher and higher and higher with every step it comes down. Whoa, okay. Can you catch it without it touching the floor? Oh, I couldn't on that one because it just rolled down the last few. So I'm gonna, oh, and it's rolled, but I got it. Oh yeah, caught it quite easily without it touching the floor. Oh, it just rolled the last couple. Oh, I didn't manage that one. Can I get this one? Oh, I got that one. Nice high bounce. Got that one before it touched the floor. So you can play this game just with the ball, practice and experiment. Experiment, try different things. Try throwing it very high so that when it lands on the step, it's landing from a height, bounce. And what you'll find is if you've got a lot of stairs, every time it hits a stair, it bounces higher as it comes down. Okay. See if you can throw with the opposite hand. Yes. Okay. Woo. See whether you can use a different ball and whether it is a different sort of bounce. Is it harder or easier? Maybe you've got a foam ball that you could use. Okay, so have fun just playing this game. See how many you can do catching it before it hits the floor. Is there anything clever you can do to make sure that it doesn't hit the floor? Is there a special way of throwing it? But remember, you stay on the flat part of the floor. And just be careful that you're not going to bump into things around you, especially if you've got a banister at the end like that. Okay, just watch the ball and try and catch the ball. Pause now and then go away and play and enjoy the game, and come back when you're ready and I'll show you the next thing that you can do. Go on then, off you go and practice. Have fun. Wow, how have you done? Have you found that there's a special way of throwing the ball that makes it bounce more times on the way down? Have you been able to catch it before it hits the floor or bounces on the floor? Or have you been experimenting with different sorts of ball to see which one is best? I hope you've had good fun, because now we're going to get a little bit more tricky. We're going to play up the ladder, down the ladder. Okay, and with this game you have to bounce the ball in order. First on step 1, catch it. Step 2, catch it. Step 3, catch it, all the way up to the top of the ladder or the stairs, and then all the way back down in order. So 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, all the way back down. It's actually quite tricky and you have to practice quite hard, but it's really good fun. Let's see how I get on. Okay, so you can either do underarm or you can do a chest pass. So I could go 1, just got it. 2, and it's coming back down to me. Yep, that actually hit the second step. Third step, oh, on my knees, I didn't catch it. I'm back to the start. 1, 2, 3. Oh, 4's gone up. Am I going to get it? Oh, I didn't get it. I'm not going to go and run after that ball because that's the kitchen. And I don't want to run into the kitchen and something awful to happen. I don't want to bump into someone with a cup of coffee or a cup of tea or someone cooking. I'm just going to very sensibly walk in there. I know no one's in there cooking at the moment, because if they were, we would have shut the door. Okay, so I'm just going to get the ball and then I'll come back. There we go. We always have to be sensible and safe. I didn't catch the ball, so I start on the bottom step again. 1, 2, oh, 3, just 4. Oh, I didn't catch it. I'm going to have to start again. If you were playing with a friend, it could be, or a member of your family, it could be that as soon as your turn goes wrong and you make a mistake, it's their turn and they can have a go. When they make a mistake, it's back to your go. That's quite a nice way of playing. Okay, so that's called up the ladder and down the ladder. Go and have a practice. Handy hint, some people say it's easier to go underarm and drop the ball on the step to then bounce down. Other people prefer to hit the ball from the edge, the corner of the step so it comes back, which is what I like doing. I like hitting it on the corner. It either goes up or it comes back. Okay, if you get it just on the corner, whoops, it should come back, but it's quite tricky. Okay, so you can just practice that. Just practice that throwing like a chest pass. Okay, so have a go at up the ladder, down the ladder, and I'll very carefully go and get my ball. Remember, we've got to be sensible, we've got to be safe, so I'm just going to walk to find my ball. Okay, you go practice, pause this, and then maybe come back tomorrow for the next idea and the next game. See ya. Fantastic and welcome back. I hope you've had a great time playing ladder ball, up the ladder and down the ladder again. And I wonder, are you getting more accurate now that you've been practicing more? Normally, the more we practice, the better we get. Our brains learn what might happen and our bodies are getting more accurate at throwing the ball well and also getting better at getting to the right place to catch the ball. So I hope you're getting more accurate. You might also have developed some games like Name the Step, where you have to name the step, throw the ball at the step and catch it to get the point. Okay, games like that you can either play on your own or you can play with a friend. Some people play it with a die or with 2 dice. Throwing the dice, whatever the number, that's the step that they have to hit. There are lots of variations. But you might now want something a little bit more demanding, something that's going to challenge you. So here's your challenge. We're now going to add a bat or a racket. It needs to be quite a small one because generally stairs are quite small and you don't want to have something very big like a tennis racket wafting around. So in actual fact, a frying pan, bat or a wooden bat is perfect. Okay, we need to do a little bit of thinking. So I'm going to put on my thinking cap. We always see clear the area, but now that we are using a different bit of equipment, we need to appraise the area again to make sure it's right for this game. Okay, it was fine before for stair ball, but now that we've got a bat, is it still going to be okay? And the thing we need to think is that often with a bat, we sometimes hit a little harder than we would throw. And also, often with our hands, we're quite accurate. And often when we start using a bat, we're not quite so accurate. So the ball might go a lot of different directions, especially when we first start. So we're going to appraise the area. I have a hallway down here and I need to check that if the ball goes into the hallway by accident, that everything's okay. I'm not going to damage anything. If there are things there that might get damaged, I must clear them. My hall is looking okay. I also need to appraise the ball again. Is it a light enough ball? Ideally, I would like to use my yellow foam bouncy ball. Unfortunately, I lost it over into a neighbour's garden, so I no longer have it. This ball looks big, but it's not a football. If you started kicking this, it would go out of shape. It's a very thin, very, very soft bouncy ball. So this, although it's big, is okay to use. But you must use some sort of a soft ball that if it hits things, it's not going to do any damage. Okay, once you've appraised and made sure that everything's okay, ask your grown-up. Yep, ask your adult. Check with them that they're happy for you to use a bat and ball indoors. They may say no, in which case you'll have to wait till you go somewhere like the university park where they've got lots of steps going up to buildings and you'd be able to play there maybe. Okay, so ask your adult and make sure everything's all right. I'm going to get started now, thinking cap off, and I'm going to play stair ball with my bat. Here we go. So, like ordinary stair ball, but I'm using, a bat. The ball's gone into here. I'm not going to run. I don't want to bump into anything. I'm just going to walk to get it sensibly. There we go, that was fine. I can start again. Oh yes, got it up. I'm trying to get it high up the steps. There we go. Oh yes. Oh, not that last one. Here we go, another go. How many can I do? 1, 2, 3. Oh, that hit the end of my banisters. Can I get better than 3? 1. Oh, it's taking a long time. 2. Oh, it didn't come up for me. Last time. 1. Oh, it rolled down. I'm going to have another go. 1. 2. Oh, it's bouncing off everything. 3. Oh, am I going to get another one? 4. 5. 6. It's my best. 7. 8. Woo. 9. 10. Oh, 11. 12. Oh, I'm 13. Didn't go up the stairs. So my best score is 13. So that's the score I'm going to try and beat next time. Okay? Be careful. Please just make sure that if you are using something like a pan, that you don't knock into anything like your woodwork. Okay? If you've got bats and things indoors, you have to be super careful. So stay a bit further back at the end of the stairs. Don't get too close to the end of the stairs and things like the paintwork. Okay? I hope you're going to have fun. You've got lots of things to keep you occupied this week. You've got stair ball, and then you've got all the net games. And if you haven't really taken to those, they're not your favourites, you can always go back, and look in your fun and games book. Look in your fun and games book and see what other games you might like to play. And also add these to your fun and games book. So add stair ball, add all the different sorts of netball that you can play, all those different net games that you can play. Okay, and then you will have lots of ideas that you can use when you fancy being busy, you fancy having some fun. Make sure that you stay safe. Make sure that you think, is it sensible, is it safe? And make sure you ask a grown-up. Have fun, enjoy playing and practicing, and I'll see you again next week for more fun and games. Bye.